Hello, everyone. How are you? Welcome back. And if you're new here, welcome to the channel. We have been running this channel for a couple weeks now, and it is to communicate with those of us who are estranged or alienated from our children, and just different topics to cover that. I'm going to call it an endemic because it seems to be far reaching and global. So if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe so that you can see when I'm live. I go live every day at 11 o'clock unless I have a special guest, in which case I may change the time to fit with their schedules. So just keep an eye on the schedule. We have a a Facebook page. It's called What Does Estrangement Feel Like? And you can follow us there. So if you are here live, you can put questions into YouTube, and I will see them. I'm using StreamYard, so it'll come through to me, and I'll be able to answer them. And I'll answer them as soon as I can. If I don't know the answer, I'm not an expert. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert. I'm a mom who is estranged and alienated, just like everybody else that may be watching this. So tonight we're talking about coping. And the ironic thing about coping is last night I had an extreme meltdown, and coping, no matter what I tried, didn't work. So it wasn't a good night. So the things we're going to talk about in coping is what actually helps, what doesn't, and the things we think are helping that really aren't. Maybe I use those. I don't know. Because estrangement forces you to cope whether you want to or not. We don't get a choice. This is not our decision. And for most of us, we didn't even realize we were coping until we were eyeball deep into it. Estrangement creates a mix of emotions that most people aren't prepared for. And yeah, I can attest to that because there's just so much that you go through. Emotional shock. Even when problems existed before, the separation itself can feel sudden. One day you're having a normal conversation, and the next day there's silence. I remember sitting there replaying conversations, trying to figure out exactly when things shifted. Like if I could just find that moment, maybe I could fix it. Maybe I could explain it. Maybe I didn't explain myself properly. Maybe they didn't explain themselves properly. I don't know because I can't find that moment. Confusion. I seem to be always confused because closure rarely happens. You don't get any answers. I spent a long time asking myself, what did I miss? What did I misunderstand? Or whether something became something much bigger without me realizing it. Loneliness. Not just missing them, but missing being a mom. In most ordinary moments, dinner, weekends, routines, it suddenly felt quiet. Anxiety, because there's no clear ending. I remember checking my phone constantly without even realizing that I was doing it. Still do it. And I know there's no calls coming because they blocked me, so I in turn blocked them. So the only way that they can reach me is if they actually dial my phone number. And they'll never do that. Remuneration. I can't say that word. Remuneration. replaying conversations over and over again. Sorry. I've had nights where I've walked through the same memory for hours. I think last night was probably one of them. And the most coping responses aren't intention. No. We don't plan them. We don't fall into them. It's like this rabbit hole. And you don't see it coming. And then all of a sudden you're at the bottom of it. And you're trying to get out. And there just doesn't seem to be a way to get out. There is. For a lot of people, they are able to accept that their children are grown. They're allowed to move on with their lives. They don't have to speak with them. And you know what? Part of that is true. We give birth to children not because of what they'll do for us for the rest of our lives, but because we chose to have children. And our role was to give birth to them, give them everything that they needed until they were 18 years old. And then they could do what they want, including never talk to you again. It's not something we anticipated. It's not something we expected. It's certainly not something that we would have ever done to our parents. If you're here live, which one's been the hardest for you? Shock, confusion, anxiety, or rumination? I still can't get that word. I'll have to look that word up. My screen tells me, after doing the research and creating the script or the monologue, what it wants me to talk about based on all the research that I've done for the topic that we're going to talk about. And apparently I missed that word because I would have figured out what it was beforehand. So if any of those have been a problem for you, what's the worst? Shock, confusion, loneliness, anxiety, or that word I can't pronounce. So confusion. Which makes sense. I think a lot of us are confused. If for me, I don't know if shock would be one. It would be more numb. Right? It was like an accident happened. I watched it happen. I participated in it happening. And I've been numb ever since. The confusion comes when I get a word here or there and nothing more. If you want to talk to me, talk to me. If you don't keep playing this game. The loneliness. I have my husband, but my kids, there's 3 of them. 2 of them were always around. The other one was older. He had his own life, but a phone call, a text message, FaceTime, those things are missing. Anxiety, yeah, that's definitely one as well. And that word, replaying conversations again and again. Yeah, reliving the moments, reliving what happened. And you know what? Our memories are not recorders, so we remember as much of it as we can. We can't remember everything, and it doesn't mean we're lying about something. It doesn't mean we're making it up. It just means that our minds don't store every single detail. So let's talk about coping mechanisms that don't actually help long term. Some feel helpful in the moment, but they do keep you stuck. I was stuck last night. I have a song, and it's a song that I wrote using an AI, and it's all about the kids. It's all about them leaving me, and all about it's. It's actually on a Facebook page. It's on my Facebook page as well. Um, but I put my earbuds in and I just put it on replay, and I closed my eyes and just lived in the moment, because there was nothing that was going to take my mind off it, and I was only getting angry. That wasn't helping my husband. There was nothing that I wanted to do. There was nothing I wanted to say. There was nothing that could take my mind off of them. So I was stuck. Avoidance looks like staying busy or distracting yourself. I did this in small ways without realizing it. I'd fill my day with practical tasks just so that I didn't have to sit still. But the moment I slowed down, everything came back. And it does. And then it doesn't matter how far along in the grieving process that you're in, right? Whether it's been 6 months, 2 weeks, 10 years, those feelings are still there. And it's not like someone died in your family. They're there. They're a phone call away. They're a message away. But if you call that number, they'll hang up. If you text that number, they won't respond. So when does it, like, the grieving process, in my mind, you're forever in the bargaining and depression phase. How do you ever accept that the children that you gave birth to, that you raised for 18 years, in all its glory and all its failures and all its problems and all its excitement, are just, they didn't choose me, but I chose them every single time. Overworking, get your butt into the office and work and work and work and work. Productivity becomes an emotional escape. There were stretches where staying busy felt safer than thinking, but eventually that exhaustion catches up. You can't run away from it. People said to me when I moved to Rotan, that I was running away from it. And to a certain degree, yeah, I was. But what I was running away in terms of the actions that I would take, and that would be going to their house, facing them front on, going to their work, because I would do that. That's just who I am. I would force them to have the conversation. And I didn't want to put that on them, and I certainly didn't want to put it on myself either. Spiritual bypassing, sometimes I told myself I had accepted things when really I had just pushed the emotions aside, saying, it is what it is. Doesn't always mean that you've processed it. I can't tell you how much I've said it is what it is. I'm sarcastic enough that if I'm watching TV and there's something on the TV about a mother and child not talking, I will say something about it, because it hits home. It's me, it's my life, it's my story. Maybe different, but it's my feelings. Isolation feels protective at first. I withdrew socially more than I realized. I actually withdrew a lot socially. Felt easier not to explain things to people who wouldn't understand. Nobody knows except for those who are very close to me, and that circle is small. Substances become numbing behaviors and often creep in quietly. Even small habits can become ways to avoid what's actually there. Now, I have construction going on beside me, and I started this stream knowing that it was quiet over there, and a truck has just pulled up, and I'm assuming that truck is going to dump a whole lot of stuff and make a whole lot of noise. So I've got my fingers crossed that they don't do that. So let's see. Maybe we can get through this before they actually pull the switch. Which one have you leaned on out of those um, coping strategies? Right? Like avoidance, overworking, spiritual bypassing, isolation, substances. Substances, I'm not going to say I don't partake, but I do live on an island where alcohol is the number one drink around, but I don't drink alcohol. And anything other than alcohol that would be considered a substance is illegal. So that doesn't happen here. However, going back to Ontario, substances are available, and I don't mind having an opportunity to check out for a little while. Isolation, yes, I definitely have isolated. See, there's the noise. Let's give it a second, see how long it takes. Not too long. Perfect. Okay. Did anything surprise you with the way you were coping? Right? Did it help? None of those helped me. Certainly still aren't helping me. But let's actually talk about what does or could help. Grounding. Now I'm spiritual. Not religious, but I am spiritual. So grounding is definitely something that I do on a regular basis. That's that deep breath in, hold it, and exhale everything. And bring your central nervous system to a standstill. So that way you can step outside and just breathe, right? Just get yourself centered again. Journaling. I journaled, but I kind of now I've got a dog. Journaling created clarity for me. Writing helped me stop replaying thoughts in my head. I journal, but I journal differently. I have my phone, and I will talk into my phone so that it's recorded. I don't actually write. Maybe writing would help. I don't know. But being on a Caribbean island, paper tends to turn into a curly Q, for lack of a better response. Community, hearing others share similar experiences made me feel less alone. The one thing that has worked for me is not only starting this channel because I'm talking, so I'm telling my story throughout my monologues, but I've had Doormat Mom, who has a Facebook group on it. She gave me a couple ideas, and I've actually gone further into those ideas based on her experience. And my dogs are my kids. I got 4 of them. Luckily, only one of them is making noise, and she's the smallest. I don't know if there's anyone here on the island that has the same experiences. And I know the app that Doormat Mom has created, it's on iOS and I think it's on Android. It's kind of like a find your local estranged parent. So you can go on Facebook and you can find national. You can find everybody there is that's estranged. You may not know them, you may not know anything about them, but this app will geolocate to where you are and then look to other people who have also signed up for the app. And if there's anybody else that is going through the same thing, it might be an opportunity to have somebody who is feeling the same way that you are. So it's worth worth a try, right? Because what we all need, even though our spouses are going through the same thing, men don't process it the same way we do. My husband doesn't talk about it. I don't know about anybody else's, but mine, it's all inside, it's all internal. And even when I'm upset, it's just my problem. Or at least that's how I feel. Therapy gives structure and perspective. It helps separate facts from emotions. I didn't per se go to therapy, but I have a doctor here on the island who is a phone call away, a message away. And when I'm struggling, he knows everything. When I'm struggling, I message him and he calms me down. He grounds me. Routine and structure stabilize me more than I expected. Predictability reduces anxiety. Well, I live on an island. There is no such thing as routine or structure, other than you get up out of bed and you go to bed at night. Sometimes you have dinner and lunch and breakfast, but it's never the same time twice. And for me, because I don't go very far, and a lot of it has to do with my ability to walk because I am disabled from a car accident from 2017. So I don't go very far. Walking from the swing to the kitchen or to the bathroom is difficult, to say the least. So I guess there is some routine and some structure there, as in none. It's the same thing all the time. That's about what it is for me. But out of those, journaling, community therapy, routine, and structure, is there anything that's helped you most? And what is it that you're still struggling with? If I were to answer that, what am I still struggling with? The fact that, and how do I put this? Because my husband does watch these, but I have an ex-husband and I have a husband. My ex-husband is the father of my two oldest boys, and my son, my youngest, is the son of my current husband. We've been married for 30 plus years. I struggle with the fact that he doesn't feel it the same way that I do. It doesn't affect him the same way it affects me. Am I emotional? Am I crazy? Am I mentally ill? Am I sick? Am I like, what is it about women or me? Maybe it's not all women that have a really hard time with the fact that I spent 9 months with a baby in my body. I went through hell to deliver it in some cases, some not so much. I raised him from this itty bitty baby who was like the love of my life, and everything revolved around them until the day they walked out the door. And that's not even true. They're still the love of my life. They're just not. I'm not theirs. And yeah, they've got girlfriends. That's expected. I'm supposed to give them wings and let them fly. They're flying. But you're not supposed to leave your mother. It's just not something you're supposed to do. And I can't fathom that. My mother, we had good times and we had bad times. And there were times where I didn't speak to her, but I always went back to her. She was a hypochondriac, so you got to the point where you didn't want to listen to her. And my brothers and sisters would be the same way. And they didn't always go back, but I did. I called my mother faithfully every Sunday, and we talked for an hour or 2 hours, depending on what happened through the week. And if I didn't call her on that Sunday, she called me Monday saying, "What's wrong?" And when I worked, I would be driving, maybe from the office to a customer site or driving home. I was always on the phone, and it was with her talking because she deserved my time. I don't understand why my kids don't think that I'm not worthy enough for their time. That's what I'm still struggling with. Anybody else? The goal isn't perfect coping, it's sustainable coping. And if I look at that, I can say for 60% of the time, I'm okay. Some days feel manageable, some days don't. That's normal. What I'm waiting for is when it reverses and I'm more manageable than not. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this episode, is coping is not a weakness. Coping is survival. And you deserve support while you do it. My support often is my dogs. Sometimes it's my husband. But he's just not that emotional kind of person. Keeps it all in. Some days will feel manageable, and some days won't. That's normal. It's one step at a time. And if that one step at a time takes you the next 50 years to do it, then that's what we get to do. Because we don't have another choice. So thank you for being here with me, listening to me. I hope I don't bore you with my spouts about my own life. I hope it helps to know that you're not the only one going through it. I look forward to more people joining us and being able to have an open conversation about it. I can bring anybody into this session at any given time. So if you see a session coming up and you want to participate in that, let me know so that I can get your email address and I can add you as a potential attendee. And then you just come in and you're beside me and we can talk and people can listen and maybe learn about the difference between what you're doing versus what I'm doing. How's yours worked? How's mine's work? How it doesn't work. Oh, we are talking about marriage, family, and friends and how estrangement reshapes those relationships because it's not just you and your kids. I lost all my friends. I also moved 6,000 miles away, and it's a little far for them to visit. And I do still talk to some of them, but it's not the same. There's a lot to unpack there. I'd really love to see you back. And remember, you're not alone. There are a lot of us out there. And I'll see you tomorrow. You have a great day. Remember to smile. Remember to breathe. Ground yourself. And if you get a chance, spend some time journaling. Take care.